leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party called on voters to support the SKNLP in the 5th August polls announced recently by Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. According to Dr. Drew, Prime Minister Harris led an administration that neglected the needs of citizens. Drew promised substantial change if the party is elected to office.
Today, as we stand on the threshold of new elections, just 2 years after the last one, I invite you to choose the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We know what it takes to build a strong, successful, diversified, climate-smart and innovative economy. We know how to educate our people. We know how to manage the country's finances well. We know how to encourage business and enterprise. We know how to modernize and make the hard choices to do it. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, in pursuit of its motto, for the good that we can do, will always be the people's voice in Parliament, and we will pursue one vision with a truly unified and dynamic team in Cabinet. With our electric mix of youth and experienced men and women, with a range of professional skills, we will lead with competence, empathy, compassion, integrity, adaptability, and resourcefulness that will always ensure that whether in good times or in bad times, our great country will always grow from strength to strength. Soon and very soon, our eyes will see the glory of a joyous daybreak that we must ensure will never again be eclipsed by corruption, greed, and misconduct. I am counting on all of you to hold us accountable. I intend for integrity in public life to be the hallmark of my administration. Our people deserve nothing less.
Dr. Drew urged electoral officials, police, and the defense force to ensure that general elections are free, fair, and free from fear. Glenn Barb reporting for SK Newsline.
First Caribbean International Bank Limited announced recently that the sale of its business to two indigenous banks in the Eastern Caribbean has received approval from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The bank further announced that it will now begin the process of transferring its clients to the Bank of St. Vincent and Grenadines Limited in St. Vincent and the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank in St. Kitts. This process is expected to take several months. The sale of the Caribbean Bank's business in 5 countries, Aruba, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and St. Kitts and Nevis and Dominica, was announced in October of 2021. The Aruba sale was completed earlier this year. According to a press release from First Caribbean International Bank, the parties continued to discuss and negotiate key aspects of the transaction in the proposed sale of CIBC First Caribbean's assets to Grenada Cooperative Bank Limited. The bank further announced that the sale of its assets in Dominica to the National Bank of Dominica will not proceed, as the bank has announced a change in its strategic direction, which does not include an acquisition at this time. Colette Delaney, Chief Executive Officer of CIBC First Caribbean, said in the release, "We're pleased at the approval of the sales in St. Vincent and St. Kitts. This helps us deliver on our strategy of simplifying our business. It's a complex set of transactions, and it will be some months before we complete the transfer of client accounts over to the purchasing banks. In the interim, we will continue to provide our clients with a first-class service through a modern, everyday banking experience and our employees with the best possible work experience." I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
When you're looking to sell, buy, rent, or manage a property, your answer has to be Diamond Real Estate and Management St. Kitts, Dreams. They provide oversight of real estate and physical property in St. Kitts and Nevis, perform regular maintenance, utility payments, and safety checks to ensure your property is well kept. Dreams manages and optimizes your rental listing, recruits tenants, and much more. Looking to sell that parcel of land or property, or dreaming of owning your own? Trust Dreams under the leadership and experience of its CEO, Velma Merchant. Many can attest to her professionalism and customer service. Diamond Real Estate Management St. Kitts. Call 663-7326 or visit their office at 15 Shadwell Industrial Estate, making your real estate dreams come true.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today. Come get your fresh smoothie at Master Mix Smoothie in Bastyr at 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Get a fresh, all-natural, healthy and tasty smoothie with flavors of your choice. Master Mix Smoothie knows the flavors that you like and mixes it all up for you the way you want it. Master Mix Smoothie, 2 locations, the Bastyr Public Market or under the arch at the National Museum. Master Mix Smoothie, always the real thing, always smoothie.
Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
Freedom Day is coming, says Sean Richards, the political leader of the People's Action Movement, in an address to the nation following the 5th August 2022 announcement for general elections in St. Kitts and Nevis. The election comes 3 years before the scheduled date after the Team Unity coalition between PAM, CCM and PLP splintered when PAM and CCM withdrew their support for the PLP Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. According to Richards, Dr. Harris abandoned the principles upon which the Team Unity administration was formed.
The announcement of the date for general elections, as we know, was not voluntarily made, but forced out of a Prime Minister who has abandoned every principle upon which Team Unity was forged and built 7 years ago. This occasion witnesses the most important general elections possibly in the history of our federation and since the dawn of universal adult suffrage. The outcome will determine whether or not our Twin Island Federation reverts to the path of broken promises, manipulation of the parliamentary system in an attempt to sustain undemocratic governance, or continue along a path of uncertainty, subversion of the sovereign will of the people, as we have experienced in these latter waning days of Prime Minister Timothy Harris, or forge a future together based on solid principles, universal development of the state, respecting our institutions and providing a future of prosperity and fair share for all.
The challenges of the times demand people-centered policies and the support for an inclusive society and good governance, said Richards, as he emphasized that Freedom Day is coming.
When Dr. Harris announced August 5th as Election Day, in effect, he announced Liberation Day, and we, the people, under the banner of PAM and CCM, will, as certain as night follows day, march victoriously to freedom and liberation. We will not go back to either the unreformed Labour Party that is salivating at the thought of having access once more to the treasury of the Federation, or to Harris's maladministered adventure of the last few months. PAM and CCM have run a campaign based on substance over hype and agenda over rhetoric. As we move toward Election Day, I urge all citizens to keep a discerning mind, to distinguish between empty promises and real policies and opportunities. I call on you to continue the great march of our foreparents who battled against enslavement and plantation exploitation, and naysayers and skeptics, and who laid the foundation for our modern state, which now finds itself at a crossroads. We can either go forward with PAM or backward with the others. The choice is clear. The time is now. The priorities are pressing.
The upcoming elections not only involve the well-known traditional parties, but a few individual contenders could be registered on nominations day. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Kevin Hope has resigned as Executive Director of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce effective Friday, July 15th. In a note to stakeholders, Mr. Hope said that after careful consideration, he decided to move into his own economics and business advisory practice. I prefer with my experience to offer advisory services to our regional governments and MSMEs who need technical advice, assistance, and cannot afford the big advisory firms. At this stage, I also prefer the flexibility of a consultancy role, he said. Mr. Hope said he enjoyed advocating on behalf of the members, helping to raise the profile of the chamber, facilitating business training, and the recent work on onboarding the political leaders to sign off on the election code of conduct. Hope was appointed in October last year at the chamber and subsequently embarked on a campaign to help grow the chamber membership. Prior to his tenure at the chamber, he worked with the Caribbean Development Bank and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. He led policy dialogues with the government, private sector, and NGOs in the areas of macro fiscal reforms, financial sector development, productivity, and growth, in addition to manage projects on macro fiscal reform programs. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. If you're looking for a place to host that special event, conference, meeting, social event, party, whatever the occasion, your best option is the Millhouse Convention Center, Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Located on the picturesque Garvey's Estate, the Millhouse Guesthouse Convention Center has enough space for outdoor events overlooking the Caribbean Sea. If you're looking indoors, the center is equipped with amenities needed to make your event a success. And by combining both spaces, you're sure to have a memorable event, no matter the occasion. Call the offices at Millhouse Guesthouse and Convention Center to book your next event on simply the most beautiful place in St. Kitts. Call 668-1392. Millhouse Convention Center at Garvey's Estate, Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Making your event memorable.
It's the new and improved SKN Newsline Android mobile app. With the SKN Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the SKN Newsline Newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search SKN Newsline, and download the app today. The SKN Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
An open interactive event can be described as
tremendous, effective,
on par with any conference around the world.
From exhibitions to trade shows, corporate events to product launches, from press events to political functions. We are the secret sauce behind events that make you go, wow. We've staged multiple world-class events in the Caribbean and develop the skill to deliver quality in every detail, whether the event is live or fully virtual, or maybe even somewhere in between. At Open Interactive, we got your events covered. Get your free quotation today at www.madebyopen.com.
Well, meantime, Labour officials today urged those who participated in the illegal sick-out to report to work. They're also inviting BPSU president back to the table to resolve all outstanding matters. Fern Carey has the story.
Return to work immediately. That's a message from labor officials to airport workers across the country after they are participating in what labor officials are describing as an illegal strike. The sickout staged by airport authority employees was all in an effort to bring attention to outstanding monies owed to them. Labor Minister the Honorable Keith Bell contends that the action reportedly took place following directions from their union.
President of the BPSU, wherein he appears to have instructed members of the BPSU that are employed at the airport authority to go to the doctor and obtain 6 certificates for 5 days and lock the place down. At 8:12 a.m. this morning, President Ferguson was advised by the Director of Labor that the matter regarding the trade dispute on outstanding payments owed to the members of the BPSU employed by the airport authority was referred to the Industrial Tribunal, and as such, any industrial action, including a planned sickout taken by BPSU, could be deemed illegal.
Director of Labor Robert Farquharson confirms the industrial action significantly impacted operations at major ports of entry in the country.
A little over 200 employees assigned to New Providence. Approximately 90% of them did not report for normal duties who should have reported to work this morning. In addition to that, there are approximately 107 employees in the Family Islands, over 17 airports that did not report to work. We're talking about the firefighters, the airport screeners, and all of the other people associated with the airport authority. The airport authority has a contingency plan in place as we speak, and while the lines are long, they are processing passengers both at the domestic and the international terminals here at the Independent International Airport.
Now, labor officials are urging the president of the BPSU to come to the bargaining table as soon as possible in order to resolve this matter.
Approximately $851,000 has been approved by this government to pay outstanding monies owed to the members of the BPSU employed at the airport authority. There are some additional payments that are owed. The government was in discussion with Mr. Ferguson and the executive of the BPSU last week with the financial secretary with the view to identifying those monies owed and have them paid at the earliest possible opportunity. And there is ongoing discussions, and we formally invite Mr. Ferguson and his team to the bargaining table to identify those issues and to identify the monies owed.
While penalties can accrue for persons who engage in illegal strike action, such as fines or imprisonment, Minister Bell says that is not the avenue he wishes to pursue, and he renewed his call for the president of the BPSU to sit at the bargaining table to resolve all outstanding issues. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Fern Carey.
Economist Elson Lowe, during a recent interview with Nightly News, contended that addressing the prevailing cost of living crisis is not a priority of the government, and this reality is further manifested when less than 1% of the $552.9 billion 2022 budget was set aside for mitigation measures.
Less than 1%. It's not just a normal budget. It's by far the biggest budget. And almost nothing goes towards cost of living mitigation. That is unbelievable to me. It speaks to the government's priorities. It speaks to the way that they're not paying attention to what's going on to the average Guyanese. And it speaks to why there's such a feeling of pain out there and that things are really, really tight.
Lowe explained that with the cost of oil predicted to be higher than it originally was, the country has immense opportunities for growth and revenue. He suggested that some of the revenues should be used to address the surging fuel cost, which will in turn ease some of the burden on the citizens.
This is money that we did not expect because, of course, of the crisis in Ukraine and a couple of other factors. What we're saying is, we can bring down the cost of living in this country substantially. We can bring down the cost of gas substantially if we divert some of our bonus gains towards bringing these prices down locally. So, that will affect not just those at the lower end of the income scale, but everyone across the economy. First of all, those of you who have cars, maybe that's middle class people would have their own transportation. Your cost at the pump will go down. But second of all, as we indicated earlier, those people are eating, and the cost of their food will go straight down.
Further, he proposed that if the oil price is above a predetermined level, importers should be compensated by government the difference in the cost above that predetermined price. And by government absorbing the cost, they can ensure the price of fuel is kept stable when it reaches the consumer. At the local pumps, gasoline prices have been at approximately $279 per liter for several months. That's among the highest levels for the year so far. Tamika Rodney reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Battling to control the inferno. Across Spain, it's a race against time to contain wildfires that have been raging out of control. From the south to the north, where blazes have scorched 4,600 hectares of land over the past few days, in the worst wildfires for a decade. In a visit to one of the worst affected areas, Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez made clear what he thought was to blame.
I want to say that evidently climate change kills. It kills people, kills the ecosystem, the biodiversity, and it also destroys the most precious goods of our society, which is affected by these wildfires: homes, businesses, and livestock.
In southwest France, firefighters were using every means at their disposal, including controlled burning, a tactic used to clear out the buildup of flammable materials by igniting the surrounding vegetation. And it is a matter of urgency. Since Tuesday, the blazes have already consumed nearly 11,000 hectares of forest, and at least 16,000 people, residents and tourists alike, have been forced to move to emergency shelters. Amid all this is the uncomfortable reality of the effect of these record-breaking high temperatures. As delegates from 40 countries gathered at the Petersburg Climate Dialogue in Berlin, the message from the hosts: act now, before it's too late.
We must intensify our mutual efforts, and that's why we and the German government moved climate foreign policy to the Foreign Ministry in order to contain this century's biggest security threat on an international level.
A threat that risks spilling out beyond countries directly affected. Sonia Gallego, Al Jazeera.
Michelle Ahi missed out on a spot in the women's 100 meters final at the World Athletics Championships on Sunday as Jamaica swept the event for the second time at a major international meet. Ahi in lane 8 in semi-final heat 3 was 6th in 11.24 seconds. Multiple world champs gold medalist Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce won the heat in 10.93. Aaliyah Hobbs was second in 10.94. Jamaica's Sharika Jackson and Elaine Thompson-Hera also won their heats in 10.84 and 10.82 respectively. Just as they did in Tokyo 2020, the trio then swept the podium in the final event of the day in Eugene. Fraser-Pryce set a new championship record of 10.67 on her way to her 10th World Champs gold. Jackson ran a new personal best of 10.73 for silver, and a two-time reigning Olympic champion Thompson-Hera in 10.81 won the bronze. At 8:12 p.m. local time this evening, Commonwealth Games gold medalist Jareem Richards will line up in Heat 2 of the men's 200 meters. TTO's Eric Harrison Jr. will also compete the 200, facing the starter in lane 8 of Heat 7.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis.
more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.